MV3 Traders Futures Trade Radio is brought to you by The Ultimate Trader's Guide, your one-stop shop for the most valuable income-producing information on the internet. Go to ultimatetradersguide.net to learn more. Link in the description below. All right, how we doing? Hope everybody had a good week. I definitely had an eventful week. So much that I didn't get everything done that I wanted to. So today there's not going to be a trader triggers. And it's kind of a good thing. I got a lot of stuff going on, and I just gotta get all of my kind of restructure how I do everything. Gotta get everything in order so I can stay consistent with everything. But anyway, so interesting day, interesting overnight structure and price action with NQ. We just made it like a new session high about 15 minutes before the open, and with about 5 seconds from the open, find a supply of that 150 area. Also kind of keeping in mind when there's PMI, there's some economic news at 10 at our B period. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of a dip, a little bit of a pullback here within the first few minutes at least. It came from 1280 to 150 pretty strong for that hour before RTH. So we'll see how this thing turns, how this plays out. We did have a volume gap between 135 and 130. We just sliced right through that. Taking a break here at 120, that's kind of a key area for me. We are seeing some supply right above 120. Nice supply response. We break below, like we're doing just now, or we're doing now. I would expect to see some continuation. Doesn't have to happen right away, of course. Let me get focused. On my executions. That was nice little. Watch this and see where it turns out. I'm not gonna overanalyze it. But we did set up some inventory right there that we just came back to. Dropped it a little bit. Price action just feels as slow as it has been like for the past couple of weeks during RTH. This hasn't been that much participation during RTH. When I go back and I do my screenshots, for my own notes, I can just see that A and B period has extremely low participation versus what I'm used to for NQ. That's kind of been the theme of the last couple of weeks. It's like almost like after the main earnings, a lot of the market took a vacation. Coming back to automation, right there at 123. Conducting a lot of business in this 120 zone, this little 120 area. I also got a second screen recorded. I think I gotta figure out how to some kind of solution to run both my screen recorders, especially on these FTR days. Back to that inventory around 115. So in hindsight, we see kind of a mechanical response to automation. Nice little inventory response. Back through automation. It's like we're kind of mechanically negotiating inside of automation. The way they're setting this up is to take supply back maybe to around like 135 at least. I don't like to speculate as to why they're doing what they're doing because there's so many reasons. Like there's a lot of times when I hear people express their opinions about why we're seeing certain price action, it's one-sided. I can also see the other side. But I just like to be aware of what's possible in both directions. Without trying to dig too deep into why it's happening. Because there's more than one reason. But if looking at it from one perspective, from one lens, that helps you then do that. You don't have to. This whole thing is about doing what works out best for you. So we got a strong supply response off of that 140 area. It's mechanical to my PR levels. That'd be PR plus 5. Now we're looking at some inventory at 128. Taking us back to that supply area. Bit of a front run. This has the potential for turning into like a pennant pattern, a flag pattern. From the micro scale that I'm looking at, of course. It came back to that inventory zone, kind of went to the lows of it, didn't quite drop it, but there's a potential for it to find cheaper inventory back into automation. So now I'm looking at a potential markdown phase, also known as a descending channel from this micro perspective. What's happening, Wes? Dropped the supply, sort of. Didn't really take us back. I mean, it took us back kind of to that inventory zone, but there was a quick supply response. I would love to see a drop of the inventory. Now, if we do break this above 140, even above like 138-ish, it's kind of as an eyeball. It's kind of eyeballing that price. Yeah, 138. If we break above it and hold, we should see some continuation. They can also use that for a slingshot back to lower prices. Okay, so there's a break above both of those levels. Back inside that shop. They painted a picture that we're going to go back to inventory. That's just how the picture is painted. Doesn't mean it has to happen. All good over here. Now if we break back and we lift that supply one more time, that should really give us some momentum. Should be able to get a nice little squeeze. That didn't really do anything for us. It came right back inside of that range. But they're not done with it yet. Just watching and see what happens. In hindsight, we're kind of mechanical to the long side. off of automation. Just slowly grinding higher, slowly lifting that supply. There's the squeeze. Finally got the squeeze. It also gave us a session high. Took us to 160. It's like a mechanical response to PR plus 6. I did get trapped short in that. I didn't play it right, actually. I should have had taken a small loss there in hindsight. The way this is traded, while it's been slow, it it makes perfect sense for, like, I've seen this before. You had the nice little run up, pre-RTH overnight, and then take a break right at the open. Then at first, within the A period, this is textbook kind of structure. Take a break and then we go for another run. But the question always remains, how long does it last? Continuing to push the session high. We got inventory right there off of that 160 area. Still trading this kind of mechanical. There's a lot of volume right there above 160. We'll see how mechanical they stay, or we're gonna keep. We're gonna keep pushing the supply. Got automation right there, that one's right above 160. Brought inventory automation right to the inventory. Was it like 163 3/4? Kind of we were front running that 160 for a brief period. It's really slow price action up there. Took us back inside automation. Taking us back to supply. Taking us back to that session high. Starting to slow down up here. See if we get another push. Should be some, if they do decide to push it one more time, there should be some stops up there to take out. Took a mechanical break right there at 180. Staying really mechanical to my PR levels. Of course, it doesn't always play out that way. But, that's what we're doing this morning. I hope it'd be nice if we continue this rally. I got an options play that I set up like 2 days ago that it should be working out really nice. I haven't looked at it yet today. Just practicing some passive options trading. Just as a friendly reminder, everything that I say and do here is highly recommended to not follow. Make your own trading decisions. So we're getting close to our bull moon. Picked up some interesting inventory here at 190. Still raising the session high. That power range move would be at the whole number of 200, 12,200. Starting to get a supply response up here. So that's taking us into the PMI news and B period. Still seeing the mechanics involved. Still trading mechanically from my perspective. If you look at the tens, like just every 10 points, for the most part, you get some sort of reaction. It's not perfect, but revisiting at 190 inventory. Below that, we got inventory around 176. Then where I would say our main inventory is all the way down to 160. So I didn't expect that 190 to hold for that long, just by where price is. We can go back above it. It can definitely take price back above 190. but just the way price was with the way that they were trading up there, the kind of price action that we had up there above 190, and where it is relative to my power range levels. Of course, I could have been wrong, and it was tradable up there. It didn't hold for that long. We got about a minute to go before B period. We got that tiny range right above 190. Found some inventory around 183, and there's a nice strong B-force response. Quickly raised the session high. We may get an inside response. Well, no, it's taking us back to those inventory. So it took us back to that 176 inventory zone. Drop below that. Stalled out at 170. Do we continue this inventory hunt? For me, I'd be looking at that 160 area to see if we're gonna, as like a key point for a rotation. So that volatility was kind of short-lived. We kind of slowed back down. I can actually see price going in either direction here. There's that 160. Taking a moment to negotiate here at 160. Coming back to our overnight session high. Collected some inventory at that overnight session high. Gonna push us back into the overnight range. still seeing the mechanics involved. We took a nice little inventory response right there off of some MSRP. Now I'm getting a supply response off of that automation. Still in this little area to where they could take this in either direction. They didn't really, they took us back to the highs of that overnight high. You know, my overnight high is not a particular price, it's a zone, it's a range. So coming back into that, it's about a 5-point range for today's session. Kind of dipped below that, then we came back into that to some supply. Got another mechanical response off of automation. Now it's making it seem as they're trying to push it back into that opening range, that overnight range. And there's the push. I think for sure this up down kind of price action that they've been giving us lately hasn't been the best for my strategy. None of it has really been like that surprising or like mind-blowing, or it's nothing that I haven't experienced before. Well, one of the things that I've definitely been working on is staying consistent with every setup, and then just getting the data points. Now off of the data, because before I would have issues to where I would overanalyze, or I would get shaken out when the price action wasn't the best for my strategy. But then I go back and I look in hindsight and I would see that I needed to, if I would have just stayed consistent with it, it would have all worked out like in my favor, and the wins would have paid for the losses, even though the losses were frequent. But it was just something I was kind of eyeballing, and I didn't really have any real data to back up what I was saying. So what I've been doing ever since I've developed this previous strategy, I think it's been getting data, and it's been can't say I've been 100% consistent, but I've been pretty consistent for the most part. You know, with some days like today to where I'm trying to get the screen recordings that I want, but it's kind of lagging. So I don't necessarily get the, it creates an extra layer to work through when I'm dealing with technical issues from my PC's perspective, on top of the kind of price action that we're getting. It's just not making it easy, even though overall it's still tradable, and there's plenty of opportunities for my strategy to work out and for me to make money with it. But all things considered, it hasn't been it's been challenging. I'll put it that way. But what has happened is I've gotten the data points that I wasn't getting before, when I wasn't being as consistent as I was supposed to be. And then, so that's when we get to the conversation about when do you change your strategy, or when do you optimize, or when do you make adjustments. In my opinion, you can do that whenever you want to, but it's good to have data points to back up what you're actually seeing from your eyeball test, right? But with those data points, a lot of times those data points are given too much weight without taking into considering what created those data points. Like if you got some data points and you saw that, let's just say those data points concluded that those data points resulted in you being in a drawdown. Just saying that, okay, this strategy doesn't work because it put me in a drawdown, without considering, well, did you actually follow the strategy like you were supposed to? Were you disciplined? How consistent were you with the strategy? Right? Did you call a lot of audibles, or did you follow it exactly the way it was supposed to be followed? Like when you're looking at your data, when you're looking at your statistics, you got to consider all of that stuff, all of the qualitative stuff. You can't just look at quantitative. You also have to look at qualitative and make sure that, and kind of separate what went right versus where you didn't do what you were supposed to do with that strategy. So as we're saying all that, we took a quick look below, back into that overnight range, and now we're back above 160. My read still kind of puts me short biased, and that's not an emotional read. That's a technical read by what I've experienced with NQ over the past 5 years, or since I've been looking at it from this micro scale, which has been at least a year. I know I've at least been looking at it from this lens for at least 1 year. Can't remember exactly when I started looking at it from this lens. Kind of another thing to where a lot of people that I see is they have a bias based off of emotions. And then, so there's nothing wrong with having a bias. But where people get in trouble, including myself in the past, is making trading decisions off that emotional bias. And with me, it wasn't, I was going to like, it was lack of execution that was a problem for me. So from that read, we've rotated, well, not exactly. But yeah, we have rotated long. Yeah, but before I would be biased to one direction, and that would cause me to be passive, and I wouldn't pull the trigger. Because what price was showing was against the bias that I had. And then overall, my bias ended up being right. I just, just the way that the picture that they painted, the way that I was looking at that picture. Gave me reason to hesitate and not pull the trigger where I was supposed to. So now we're at that whole number of 200. Coming back to the session high of 210. So off of that news, they took that opportunity to collect some more inventory. Got rid of it right before. This is from the wholesale perspective. Picked up that inventory, and now let's take it back to market. Let's pay ourselves one more time before the weekend. So they did it in pretty much of a kind of in a predatory manner. See a lot of volume coming in here at 205-ish. I'm past my trading window, but this is very tempting to look for a setup. That nice little run up we got from 160. But if we zoom out and look at the big picture within the B period, pretty much the B period, kind of range bound. About a nice 60-point range, 60-70-point range. Off of that feeling, let me go ahead and turn off my trade copier, just so I don't get triggered into breaking my rule. There's always another day. There's always more trades to take. And I'm gonna give that B-Force key events a rating of, that was pretty strong, so give it a strong rating. All of this goes in I'm just out, speaking out loud what I'm putting in my journal. So now we're back at automation, picking up some inventory around automation. Right at the edges of the bull moon. The energy has calmed down one more time. Starting to negotiate here between that 193 and that 200. That definitely interested to do my rotation count. I take screenshots kind of from my own notes on my end. And then I go back and I'll do a recap of what happened. And part of that is seeing how many rotations based off of the way that I'm reading it. Normally, there's maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 rotations on the most volatile day. It'd be interesting to see what that rotation count is today once I go back and work with hindsight capital. So on that note, I appreciate everybody for coming through. I'm gonna go ahead and close up the shop for the day. Hope everybody have a good weekend. Hope your trading session went better than mine for sure. And until next time, trade it easy.